Welcome everybody to another edition of Welcome everyone to another edition of PonyFans Live. PonyFans Live is brought to you by Lakewood's First and 10, located at the northeast corner of Mockingbird and Abrams in Dallas, and recently named by D Magazine as the best sports bar in Dallas. Also by Game Day Cloth. Love your team, love your clothes. Visit their store at the corner of Legacy and the Tollway in Plano, or check out GameDayCloth.com. And of course by PonyFans.com, the oldest, largest, and fastest growing website dedicated to the SMU Mustangs and Pony fans everywhere. PonyFans Live is a weekly show throughout the season. It'll be here at Lakewood's First and 10 every week, so we invite you to come out in person. If you can't make it, we do record the show to go on YouTube the following day, and check out PonyFans. Check out PonyFans.com to see who every week's guest will be. With that said, please help me welcome our guests. Two of the stars of SMU's defense, junior safety Chris Banjo and sophomore linebacker Jagared Davis. All right, we're going to start with Chris Banjo, and through 5 games, SMU is giving up a couple of points less than last year, almost 50 yards fewer than last year. What's the biggest difference between last year's defense and this year's defense?
Just chemistry, playing with the same guys. I know we lost a couple of guys last year, but, just being comfortable in the system. We have got a couple young guys step up this year, playing faster and playing more confident. And that's a big difference, too.
He helps out a little bit?
Yeah, he helps out a lot.
Yeah, I bet. Talk specifically about the secondary, though, because you got kicked in the deep end as a freshman and had to play right away.
Yes, sir.
And now, as a junior, you're sort of the old man of the group.
Yes, sir.
You lose Brian McCann, you lose Rock Dennis, you lose Bryce Hudman. Not only talented guys, but a lot of experience who had seen basically everything a team could show at them, or could show you guys. What's the hardest part about replacing 3 guys like that?
Just what they brought to the team, the experience they brought to the team. They're mentors to all the young guys. They're very good, very big parts to our defense. But I feel like we've had guys here who've been able to step into their roles. Ryan Smith is coming real well, played well. Richard Crawford's really been improving through the first couple games, and Sterling Moore, he's been shutting it out. He's been shutting it down on the left side of the field the whole game. So it just although we do miss them, I feel like we have people stepping in their roles.
Coaches always talk about the things you can't teach are size and speed. You either have those or you don't. You also can't teach experience.
Yes, sir.
What do your defensive coordinator, Tom Mason, and your secondary coach, Derek Odom, what are they doing to help compensate for the loss of all that experience?
Just letting us loose. That's one thing Coach Mason's always stressing, just playing free. And, letting us play. And us playing free, allows us to be more confident in what he calls and the schemes. And so it really helps us out, just him not being too hard on us, but letting us play free at the same time. So it's been a blessing playing for him.
You mentioned, all right, you have the most experience in the secondary, but you aren't the oldest guy. You've got Sterling over on one side as a senior. And several of your teammates have said that he's sort of a different player this year. What's the biggest difference you see between when he got here last year as a JUCO transfer, didn't know anybody, didn't know the coaches, didn't know his teammates, between where he was then and where he is now? What's the biggest difference in Sterling Moore?
Just confidence. Him coming in here, his D1 football, he wasn't sure, how he was going to adapt to it. People were going to like him, on the team. But, now he's a brother to us. He's really coming to his role. He's been locking everything down. He's been in the weight room. He's been running. And he's just more confident in everything he's doing. Everything he does, with a little bit of swag. So, that's always going to help, coming to be a cornerback. So that's something we've really, appreciated back there in the secondary.
Okay, you mentioned his swagger, and that's actually what I was going to ask you about. When he got here last year, he was fairly quiet.
Swag was weak. Yeah.
And, swag was weak. And now he carries himself differently on the practice field, on game day, even when, walking around outside of football altogether. He seems to have a totally new level of confidence. Where does that come from?
Just, success on the field. It's not cockiness. It's just, he's very confident, excuse me. That's something that we really needed, in the secondary. A lot of people doubting what we've been able to do. And Sterling he's been able to show that, the secondary is able to play with anybody. So that's something I really appreciate as a safety, and, not just me, but the whole team really appreciates.
Last year, Sterling goes down with a knee injury. I think it was against UTEP. And a lot of people were concerned that he was done for the year. He starts rehabbing like crazy, gets back on the field, played in the Hawaii Bowl.
Did real well.
What did that do for him in terms of the way the teammates, all of you guys looked at him as a leader in the secondary, leader on the defense, even on the whole team? How did that change his persona with the rest of the team?
I mean, to be honest, it really didn't, because from when he started on the field, I really knew he was going to be somebody we could depend on, somebody we could count on, somebody, if he was down, he wasn't going to be down long. So that really didn't surprise me at all, how fast he came back and how fast he came back and played well. So that was just something that was going to take, a little bit of time, obviously, but when he came back, it's like we never missed a beat.
On the other side, the coaches went out to California last year and found Sterling Moore. They went back this summer and they found Richard Crawford. Same sort of deal. He shows up, he's kind of quiet, nobody really knows who he is, he doesn't know you guys yet. And he got sort of, again, kicked in the deep end with that opener against Texas Tech, but he's played very well the last few weeks.
Yes, sir.
What kind of adjustments has he made, and how has he made that improvement in the first few games of the year?
Just being more comfortable in the schemes and the system, that we're running over here. Since his first game, that was a real big game for him. D1 football, on national television, and once he got his confidence up, he's been able to do his assignment perfectly. So it's really been stressed that we do our assignment correctly, and ever since then he's been able to do it. So.
You mentioned the other new face back there, at least in the starting lineup, is Ryan Smith.
Yes, sir.
There's a little bit of a battle in camp. He comes out with a starting job. He's got 2 of the 3 interceptions that SMU has so far this year, and he seems very comfortable back there. What steps did he go through in terms of not just claiming that position, but developing that comfort level and making that position his?
Preparation, whether it's on practice, doing all your assignments right, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's doing extra, running extra. His preparation, his mental mind, has really probably set himself apart, and he's been here longer, so he's knowing what we're doing and how we're doing it. So that's what he had.
All right, for those of us who haven't played in the secondary, which is, I'm guessing, everyone in the room and everyone watching, how do you communicate in the secondary? I mean, offensive linemen, you got a guy right on your shoulder, and you can talk to each other, usually, get some communication, some information going back and forth. But you and Ryan are, 20 yards apart. You got corners out there by the sidelines. How do you guys communicate, if at all? And how have you and Crawford and Ryan Smith and all the new moving parts in the secondary gelled and developed that communication?
First and foremost, the biggest thing to communication is getting the call from our secondary coach, Coach Odom, who calls in plays. But after that, maybe somebody may not get a call or whatnot, but we have to make sure we communicate. We do different things, giving them hand signals, touching, different parts, our helmets, pads, and just making sure we're all on the same page. Even if we're sure he knows what he's doing, we just reassure each other that, we're both on the same page. And that's the biggest thing in the secondary, because if somebody back there messes up, it's 6 points. So we always have to stress being on the same page.
All right, this Saturday, you've got a big challenge in front of you. You got Tulsa coming in. They have the number 8 offense in the entire country, and a lot of the damage they do is through the air. You've seen some good offenses already, Texas Tech, TCU. How does this offense compare to what you've seen so far in terms of how dangerous this passing game is going to be Saturday?
They kind of keep you on your toes, knowing that they have a lot of trick plays in the offense, a lot of different schemes that make you your defense play assignment football, and you have to play that or they're going to gash you. But they have a lot of athletes on their team. They're very well coached, and we just have to come ready to play and match their intensity. For
the last couple of weeks now, Tulsa's been sort of trumpeting the fact that they've got 3 receivers with more than 2,000 yards receiving in their careers. Damaris Johnson, Trey Johnson, and their H-back tight end, Charles Clay. Who presents the biggest concern to you and the rest of the secondary?
I mean, they're all explosive, to be honest, to be fair about it. They're all explosive. I mean, I know...
oh, you're so diplomatic.
I know Damaris gets a lot of the attention, him being, an all-purpose guy, kick returner, punt returner. But, I mean, they're all very good athletes. They're all very great receivers. And, we all just have to be on our A-game in the secondary to be able to compete with them.
How do they stack up against some of the other groups of receivers you've seen, like Texas Tech? They're going to throw for tons of yards every week. Is this the best group of receivers you'll see all year?
This is probably one of the best groups we'll see. They're very quick, very good athletes, could have great hands, run great routes. So it'll keep us, this will be a good test for not only secondary but for the whole defense, and we just have to come ready to play.
All right, you mentioned Damaris Johnson. He's tiny. I think he's listed at 5'8", which is probably a little generous. And I think they say, what do they say he is, 170 pounds, something like that?
About that, yeah.
But every time he touches the ball, he seems to be a threat to score. And they do all sorts of things to get it to him. They throw screens, they throw short passes over the middle, they run the ball with him with end arounds. How do you simulate that in practice?
We have one tiny little dude on our team. His name's Larry Centers. You know, he really helps us out, you know, simulating that at practice. He's somewhat, you know, fairly similar to Damaris, actually, you know, in terms of how shifty he is, his vision, the way he catches, the way he runs his route. So he's really helped us out at practice, you know, giving us that look and getting us ready.
Okay, it's not just being small, though. I mean, if he can really run some of the plays that Damaris Johnson's running, you've got a weapon coming after he gets off the scout team this year, right?
Yeah, we honestly believe that. You know, that's something we've always been talking about in the locker room. And, you know, once, you know, after he comes out of his redshirt year, he's going to be really ready to play and contribute right away. And we're excited to see him play.
Everyone talks about their passing game, and with good reason. They're putting up huge numbers. But their running game, they're running for over 200 yards a game. They don't seem to have a lead guy. Like, you know, Zach Lyon's putting up, 80, 90 yards a game. Their top running back is putting up 43 yards per game, but they got 5 guys running for over 20 yards. As a defensive player, is it harder to face a team that's got that many different guys who can run the ball? Would you rather face a team that's got one lead stud guy that you know is going to get the ball all day long?
To be honest, I actually would. You know, that just shows, you know, those statistics show that actually you have to keep your defense, you know, assignment sound. You know, you have to fill your gaps, you have to make your reads, and you have to, you know, do your job first before you try doing anybody else's. So it just, you know, shows that we have to come ready to play and play assignment and line the football, and we'll be good.
The guy running this offense on Saturday, G.J. Kinney, very talented, very good athlete, and had the worst day of his life last year against your defense. Thanks in part to Jagarrett Davis, and we'll get into that more with him in a minute. But when you watch him, obviously SMU fans have seen basically one game. And in that game, he went 2 for 10 for a total of 10 yards, 2 interceptions, and a concussion. Are you going to tell us you've got another performance like that waiting for him on Saturday?
I really wish we could promise something like that. But to be honest and be all fair, you know, he was a transfer. You know, that was his first year, you know, in that offense, in that scheme. And on film, you could just tell he's more confident. You know, he's more confident in the schemes and what he's running and the way he's running it. You know, he has a little bit more swagger, you know, bringing to the team. So he's ready to go this year. And I know he's, you know, this is a big game for him, trying to get revenge. But, you know, I think we'll be ready for him.
Right. And
as long as he's ready. So.
As long as JG's ready?
As long as he's ready.
I don't mean to make light of him, of his performance last year, because obviously you guys put a couple of big hits on him. That rattled him a little bit. But he is a very, very talented guy. He's putting up huge, huge numbers. But you've studied him. You've watched him on film. None of us have. When you see him playing well and when he's healthy, what does he do that makes him so effective leading that offense?
I mean, he just made, you know, he makes good decisions. You know, he puts his team in situations where they can make big plays. You know, whether it's, you know, throwing a simple bubble screen pass or keeping the ball, you know, on an option read, he just makes good decisions for the overall team, and, you know, he just makes them go. So we just have to, you know, contain him, ball him up, maybe get him rattled again, and it's going to be a long day.
You hope so, anyway. We all hope so. Coaches talk about, and players too, talk about when you have a guy or an offense that's that prolific. Putting up, what are they putting up? 507 yards a game and 39-point-something points per game. Coaches and players both will talk about, we want to make them one-dimensional. Either force them to run or force them to pass. These guys can do both. What's your approach on Saturday? What are you going to try to force them to do?
Turn the ball over. You know, that's a big thing that we've been talking about this week, you know, trying to get our offense the ball back and, you know, get them rattled like we did last year. You know, we got them to turn the ball over last year, and, you know, that worked out well in our favor. So if we can do the same thing and duplicate that, I think it'll be a good game for us.
All right. That is junior free safety Chris Banjo. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be back with sophomore linebacker Jagarrett Davis. This is PonyFans Live.